Hey everybody, it is good morning. It's Saturday. It's 10:34 in the morning. 55 degrees outside. It's very wet, but it isn't raining or anything like that. It's just holdover from yesterday. So we try to play frisbee on Saturdays, but the fields are just too squishy right now. All right, I finally have set myself up for a little bit of success on a Saturday on this um, space and time project that I'm working on. Basically, what's going on is that the like I'm right at the end of finishing something up. Normally, what happens on Saturdays is all during the week I sort of take complexities that I can't quite get done uh, in a shorter video, and then I kind of kick them down the road, and then on Saturdays I sort of deal with them. But this time I don't have anything like that. I ended up having to. I was like, I'm supposed to start work at 9, and it was 9:03, and I was like, oh crap! So I had to just kind of stop. Um, this is a really good though. Good. This was a good stopping place, I think, because right now what happens is 99 times out of 100 anymore. This used to never happen. This was one of the most amazing things that ever came along in software. Um, is like I almost think that this might even be a game changer for software development than AI. Was these little this idea of these little where you hit this and then this little menu pops up and tells you what is available. But like it's not. Like honestly, if I was to say what I think the single biggest impact to software development ever was, that just changed, like literally changed the mental structure, the way your brain needed to function as a software developer, was copy and paste. Like I was around before copy and paste existed, and software development was very, very difficult for before copy and paste. Um, Additionally, it was extraordinarily visible. Like before, I can't remember what year it was, but when I was first starting, you couldn't run more than one program at a time on a computer. So trying to run like an editor and a server and all that, you had to shut the editor down, run the server, see what happened, shut the server down or shut the program down, whether it was executable, whatever, and all that. So I feel like those things were way more impactful to software development than AI. AI, don't get me wrong, is a game changer, but I think those were bigger game changers than that. I would argue that maybe even JSON, the format JSON might have been a bigger game changer for software development. Now, was it impactful? No, and I think that those aren't as impactful. A, because they were actually for productive use of software development. AI has been much more impactful because it's way beyond software development. And I think the one thing that it's really done is expose the absolute 100% disconnect that still exists today between what software development is and what computer programming is and what people think it is, because it's not what people think it is. It's absolutely not there. I don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're talking about something totally different than what we do. Um, and it's like in some ways a software development, like almost a whole different shadow industry, sort of popped up as sort of just like this, I don't know, just this weird hanger-oner. And and it's not like this is just an instance of it. This is not it. But Agile is a really good instance of. There are a lot of people who understand Agile inside and out, and Agile is sort of a methodology to sort of manage software developers and software development and try to get statuses and understand what's going on with the software development effort. And um, it's, as far as I can tell, it's just like I think the original kind of tenets of it are really good, but like the actual instances, implementations of it are awful. They just always screw it up. It always makes things way worse, and destroys productivity. But it's like this shadow secondary. industry that doesn't really have anything to do with software development, but boy, do most people think it does. Shush, Pebbles. I have my son's dogs over here, and one of them loves to get stuck. Like she wears a harness, and she loves to get stuck under the bed that's next to me over here, and then she just loves to pull it. She's just a powerful little dog, and I think she likes to, that's like her equivalent to going to the gym. She likes to get under there, get her harness stuck, and then just pull for all she's worth. Um, but anyway, so should dot not does not exist. That was a stab in the dark. And then because of the way I installed Angular Cypress under Angular, I get to choose. I can either get this working for this pop up, these menus working for Cypress, or I can get it working for um, um, the other one, Karma Jasmine. Those are my two choices. Those are my only two choices. So where does that leave me? Well, that leaves me at um, I can't, like, not doesn't work. I tried it, it didn't work. So what's next? Well, the next thing for me is going to be just to say go into ChatGPT and do this. Now ChatGPT wasn't even a thing 4 years ago, 5 years ago. So, but that's my backup. So honestly, having the little pop up in the actual browser in the actual IDE is more helpful. Now, I don't really like the idea of like I was watching the Angular live stream the other day, and the dude was just coding away, and he was using agentic coding, and he's just coding away. It was so funny, really enjoyable. Um, and uh, next thing you know, he's like changed some of the code because he had like this whatever this system was locked into his browser, and so he changed some code, and then he did some other stuff, and he came back, and the AI had changed the code back for him to what he didn't want because he was like, I don't like the way this reads. I'm going to change it, blah blah blah, and then it changed it for him. You know, um, so I don't really like it having it in the ID. I like some separations. You know, like I like having a different waitress than a cook. Like it could be the same person, but it's just kind of nice having somebody who's like I like the cook being someone who is rigid, who wants everything to be done the correct way and has no tolerance for bullshit. On the other side of the waitress, I like a waitress to be pleasant, fun to talk to, and not that kind of rigid. So I like to interact with the waitress so that she can go use her social skills to get the food from the cook. The cook can be really grumpy and all that, but as long as he's like grumpy in a way that he wants everything to be done exactly properly and all that, he's perfect for that. So the I don't want those merged, and that to me is what when AI is directly in like Visual Studio Code directly, it's like merging two things. Now I want to make the decisions. I want to say I don't want the cook shoving food down my mouth. I want to go get the answers and all that. So I'm I've built up a skill set of interacting with ChatGPT and paste this in there, and then I wrote this Cypress code, and apparently not is not a function. That I would never have written that prompt like that in the beginning, but I've if you get too specific, then you don't get to hear about new things. And if you get too general, then it just rambles on forever. So trying to write that prompt exactly like that's going to give you exactly what you want is tricky. The correct way, most common, should not exist. Easy, easy, peasy, peasy. I think if this works, um, we're done. We're done. It's kind of wild how they love the dots. Not I bet you. Oh, I guess somewhere behind the scenes they probably run a like they executed this string as code. It would be my guess behind the scenes. I think there's like an exec exec command. I used to use it all the time. Um, so you would take like a big old chunk of string. Usually, this is back when XML was a big thing. Um, so yeah, XML came in. XML has the ability to keep code in it. It not only can it keep code, it can actually like scripting code. It can actually have an entire binary in it. So you could actually have a full blown executable inside of the XML. And back then, was the very common pattern is they would literally send you, the server would send you the JavaScript to run. And boy, did that seem idiotic at the time. Um, but man, did everybody believe in it. Um, ooh, looks like we all good. All right, so now run this test again. Can I run this test? Oh, I guess it's run all tests. Okay, and actually now okay, yeah. So what? Okay, I'm just gonna do this. So it all happened so fast, but basically everything passed. So like in the future, in the very near future, in probably the next one, I'm gonna be like, okay, I want the ST animation to be gone at the end, right? That'll probably be the next one. So then it would be like I could literally, oh, I don't have expected ID. So we'll do a similar thing, but it'll be for, see, I don't even think we have an entity in there. We might, I don't know. But it'll be for this guy and then it'll fail, right? So let's just do this just to watch it fail, just to make sure. I always like to force a fail. Oop, what? Why did it not fail? Oh, oh, we're saying it doesn't exist. Oh my gosh. Um, silly rabbit. Okay. So we're expecting that one to exist, and so it should fail. And I think that is the most important part is like sort of like as you write code and as you move forward, a lot of times what happens is you end up um, optimize in a way that understanding. Like I would love, I every single day I usually for my fingers and for various reasons I do Rubik's cube, um, and I like to mess it up and so and and resolve it every day a couple times. And the thing is like when I was learning how to do that, I learned how to do it after age 50. So I hit 50 and I was like, you know what? I've always wanted to learn how to solve a Rubik's Cube. I could always get one or two sides, maybe even three sides pretty consistently, but I could never get like all six sides. Um, and my wife can attest to this literally for like a whole 6 months. I spent we went to bed a couple hours early and I would spend an hour or two in the bed trying to solve the Rubik's Cube. And the reason I did it is because I wanted to learn every step because I wanted to be able to teach someone else how to solve the Rubik's Cube. But the problem was, as I had learned some things, there were some things that just sort of got optimized into muscle memory. So I see a certain pattern and then I just go like that and it's just done. And I don't know. I don't remember anymore exactly what all the steps are. It's just so it's like when you tie your shoe and all that. Well, that happens with coding all the time and that just happened just now. And then I was just like, I say it like this. It should not exist. If I change this, it'll break. And it was like, oh crap, no. See, I'd already optimized my understanding of this away. And that happens a lot. But now we are officially done. So we want to remove this only and just run it one last time. And then um, once that passes, I wonder if I can run them all from here. What if I click on this? Oh, so auto scrolling is on. So I wish there was a way like you could just, well, I guess you can. So what I can do, and I guess I'll just do that. It's kind of boring, but I guess we'll do it while we're rerunning the unit tests as well. So we'll just, so we got this. I'm just gonna kill this, and I'm gonna say npm run Cypress run. Again, just if you don't, I say this over and over again because it always is amazing how much of a life changer this is for people. I literally like explained it to a guy who's been in software development for almost 15 years, and he's been working with packages for at least 3 years now, and he was not aware of this. But basically, though that command that I just ran goes directly with this. And basically what it does is it executes this. And the reason I like to do it here is because then it will always run it in the context of this node modules and this project. If I have Cypress installed globally or in some other way, or somehow Cypress means something, it it will not run in this context. It may not run in this context if I run this function directly. It may or may not. But if I run this function, it's guaranteed to run this one. Now, maybe I could technically maybe have been in the wrong project that has a similar thing, but like the odds of like I will run them out in the wrong place quite regularly and it just fails. And it's like, oh yeah, the command line's not in the right place. But had I run it globally, like with this function, it wouldn't. But anyways, so now this is supposed to run the Cypress headless. I don't have a whole lot of experience with that, but I'm going to let that kind of do its thing. And I'm going to move over here. And over here, we're going to run our unit tests. Run test and see that matches up with this one right here. And so it'll end up watching that. And if you watch carefully, you'll actually see this show up on the command line. So, yep, see ng test watch coverage. And again, it will, it can only run this code, as far as I know, in all my years of experience, it only runs it in this context of this project. All right, so we have a build, we have our Cypress. Our Cypress is trying to run. I know it takes a while. And then let's come back over here and we'll start. The other thing we want to do is we want to go through and just check to make sure that there's no obvious problems. Like we're doing a smell test. We're just looking for anything that just like stands out is stupid. Check to see the cameras next. Yeah, I think that's, and the things I really am on the watch out for are like console logs and weird comments. Comments are a tricky thing. Comments have sort of the ability to be like one of the most valuable things, that just an absolute game changer to make life better for everybody, and it can make things a lot worse for everybody because many times comments just go stale. Um, and if you're not really super disciplined, what'll happen is you'll end up writing. It looks like this. Oh, it's starting to run. It's trying to run the first one. You'll end up with like someone makes a comment, makes total sense, or maybe makes kind of some sense, and then things change. Everyone ignores the comment. Especially, it makes it really tough with the way Git works because, like, if they don't modify the comment, it's not really going to stand out. It's easy to miss on review comments. I feel like we had some kind of change, if I remember correctly, in here that it doesn't quite make sense in here, but not really willing to put the thought into exactly this architectural thing for these interfaces. Only because, in my personal experience, moving interfaces is dirt simple and doesn't get harder with time. If I decide to move this into a different place now, the thing that would get harder with time is if I had multiple interfaces that do the exact same thing that were kind of spread out. That would get harder with time. But if all I have is one misplaced interface, moving that it does not get harder with time. Okay, I don't know exactly. Oh, okay, so the unit tests are now running, it looks like. So let's go look at that. For some reason, it is very dominant. I think I want this log here. I can't remember why, but So we're on 30, unit test 37 right now, 39. So you notice it's like saying published work after almost every single unit test. Now this can really be a problem, right? Because, ooh, I don't want that. I don't think. Oh man. See, we had 100% and we lost it. And I don't really understand why. Now, what happens if I hit refresh? See, this starts to happen. You start to get some weird things that can be just tragic if you're working in a place and they have a minimum requirement and you just barely make it to the minimum. And then yeah, see now we're at 100. So that sucks because that means that in all likelihood, if we there's a good chance that that would fail in CI/CD. So we run this locally, it's getting 100%, but for some reason, the very first time you do it, sometimes it doesn't work. So I'm going to kill this and we're going to try it again. This is not a new situation. I have seen this dozens, if not hundreds of times, and it is no fun at all when you're like counting, when you're like under the deadline, you need to get some code done, and you have a unit test minimum to get, and everybody and their brother just gets you right at it. So you have 80% minimum coverage, and everyone's getting you to 80.01, and then for some reason it starts acting different on the initial launch than it does afterwards, and that sucks. Now it sucks, but it's way better than nothing, I think. And I don't know. I actually I'm just going to go back on that one. Yeah, see, this time it's 100%. So I don't even know how we fix that. Um, but we were definitely less than 100%. My suspicion is that if we were in a CI/CD thing, um, then we would somebody would be saying, "I don't know what to tell you. It's broken. You didn't get 100%. Nope, we got it right here. It's in writing. You can see. You just got to figure it out, or not, or you don't figure it out." And then they change it to 75, and then everybody starts slowing their to 75, and then okay, so I don't think this console log is really bringing any value at this moment. Maybe we'll need it in the future, but so we'll remove that, and then I think that was the only thing. There was like a massive, like I think it was in here, console log, like that was just like throwing like JSON all over the place. Is it this one? I don't know. I'm gonna do a search on console.log. See what we find. Ah, yeah, it was in sequence. Okay, so this actually is supposed to do that. And this, I guess it's because the dictionary probably got bigger. But this is actually the whole point. The whole point, this only exists to print this dictionary out to the console. So I guess we'll leave it. And again, that is sort of one of the goals for me on this project for unit tests is to be able to dig in and see things and be like, I understand every single line of code to the line level. There's a time you don't just understand that. Sometimes you're thinking architectural. Sometimes you're thinking at 30,000 feet and you're just taking a whole chunk of code and moving it from one spot to the other. And you're not really thinking about individual pieces, or you're adding logic in there just, ad hoc. And then um, during that time, you're just trying to get things to work, and then you get it to work, and then like, but there's a time that you have to carve out to where you're like, okay, now I want to look at every single line of code and just do a deep dive. And those are the things that like they'll be happy to put it in words in an agile or something like that, but they don't really enforce it or even, and then the people that are reading the words don't even understand what the words mean. So software development has a long ways to go, and we do have like this, I would say, they want to say, hey, they're software developers, but they're not. They're agilists. They're they're I guess they're engineers is really what they are. They're like software process engineers is really what those people are. And the thing is the nice thing about the word software process engineer is it does not imply that they write code. Executives always think that the people that are saying that they're people that are agile experts and the people that are like talking about like, oh, we need to add this and t-shirt sizes and points and accelerators and velocity, and those people that are saying those words, they think those people code. 9 times out of 10, people that are saying those words don't code. I would say even 9 times out of 10, those people have never coded, have never don't have the vaguest idea. I'd say 1 in 10 times you'll have someone who coded and they weren't really that good. Like they were able to get through, they kind of understood one sort of version of code. See, the thing is code changes so dramatically every 3 to 4 years that like sometimes people can come to speed in one version, but then when it changes, they can't make the jump to the new change. Um, so sometimes you'll have someone like that that was okay with one version and now they're doing agile and all that. Those people are infinitely better than the people who never coded at all. And then every once in a while, you'll get someone who was really maybe 1 in 100 that's really good, was a very, very good coder. And now they've sort of been like co opted into agile and all that. It happens once in a while. Um, those people, I think the people that were sort of good and then they didn't quite adapt, could not make the jump to the next one. Those people probably are the best ones at actual process engineering. The problem with one of the biggest problems software developers have is creative outlet. Like they need some way to like sort of expand and create and have like they need a creative outlet, and they don't. The work building professional software should not be a creative endeavor. You should know exactly what you want to do, but it's a creative behavior. And so you need to be creative, and creative people need a creative outlet. So that's why a lot of really good developers, in my opinion, are like musicians or athletes or something, because they get to sort of be creative in those things. And then they get to study software development and then they get to code. Um, so, anyway, so this is working. The unit tests look good, all that. So, this is a good situation. And tomorrow we will commit it. I think we have 13 changes, one super commit. I think I had kind of gone in the direction where I was going to do like a commit of code and then a unit test commit and then a super Cypress commit. And I sort of came up with that. And that is very coding sort of mindset, right? Like I'm just changing things as I go and trying to figure it out. That you probably do not want that in your software process engineers. You want your process engineers not really being like the type of you want them to be the type of person that can understand the process but not trying to change all the processes all the time. Someone that like is like to me, in if you were working in an agile environment, these are the scariest words. If you hear these words, life is about to be uncomfortable for a little bit. And they're like, what these words, what can we do so that this never happens again? Because what they're going to do, the result of that almost always ends up being, okay, we're going to make everybody do something. So we've had 1,000 pull requests. This new novel thing happened, and now we're going to hamper every pull request from here on out with some new rule so that this thing that happens 1 in 1,000 times never happens again. And then they wait and they wait for another thing, and then they go, oh, and next thing you know, the CI/CD and agile responsibilities get so big and so cumbersome that it just becomes impossible to develop. And then what you end up with is people making like $100 an hour and quitting. And everyone being like, "Ooh, why did they quit?" And it's just like because you literally are paying them $100 an hour to bang their head against the wall for 8 hours solid. Like you will, there's no way. Like, and even if they do manage to figure out some way to navigate all the crazy stuff that you added, even if they figure that out, you're just going to add a new one. And then as soon as they figure that one out, you'll just add a new one. And you're just going to keep adding things until it's impossible to develop software. And that is really happens. Okay, so it's really three things. I used to always say it was two things. It's like if you have CI/CD, then they have buttons that they can push to ruin your life. Two, if you have Agile, then they have like artificial goals and artificial things that have no relevance in actual software development. And so you go, oh, okay. So with those two, they're a really nasty combo. And then three, no real delivery dates. No, no, like, okay, this has to happen on the first of every month. This has to happen. These things have to happen. If you're like, oh, okay, we have 5 years. We have a greenfield project. We have 5 years. You're talking, we have 5 years to torture each other until um, until something actually has to be delivered. And yeah, it's not going to happen probably. Anyways, so that is that. I guess it's kind of good when I have a bunch of stuff. Oh yeah, we didn't even look. Yeah, so all these passed. So that's good. And then this thing is running. So tomorrow I will commit this code and I think we have like a issue to delete everything. So basically the idea would be that, and see, we couldn't even make this conversation, like this conversation, like entities, and then we add, and then we go here, and then we delete, and then we go back, and nothing should be here. Now, I don't know if that's too big for a single issue. Like maybe animation shouldn't be here is one, and like all of these should be deleted. And to be clear, before we even started this, there was actually one that even had a link to an actual object, instantiated object, and that instantiated object was no longer even being used, and but it was still existed because this thing had a reference to it, and that was probably one. And basically, the result was that when we tried to JSON stringify to make these, it choked, it died, it couldn't do it because there's circular references, and um, that that alone, like all of that stuff, like just took a lot to those were like little poison pills that were in the system that were hooked into the system that just took a lot to pull out and are taking a lot of time. Um, and that was because I just did not want to go like I would rather never ever ever get to where I can build a cool visualization than have to get to where I can build cool visualizations, but if I go too far, the whole thing crashes. Like I'd just rather not be able to do it. Um, it was a heartbreaker in my last project that I did over 2024. I spent the whole year working on a project for 2024, and at the end, I could build the neatest visualizations, but I couldn't save any of them. I couldn't do anything. I did briefly think about using Cypress to try to be able to say, oh, okay, this Cypress script gets me to where I can do this. This Cypress script gets me to do that. But I would really rather be able to export it. And I'm actually very curious if I can export these things and I feed them to um, ChatGPT. Can it figure out how to make drawings of things? Like, can it figure out how to take 20 spheres and turn them into the letter A, and then 20 spheres and turn those into the letter B, and then even the animation that would make it go from A to B. There's just so many cool things that we can do, but I don't want to get to the point where like I've I can do these cool things, but like it's very limited, or at least that's probably going to happen. But like I don't want to knowingly build something where I know I put myself in that, and if it takes a lot longer or never, fine, that's perfectly fine with me. I mean, it's not like, and honestly, like the bigger goal is to actually learn stuff, and I'm definitely learning things. My understanding of memory links is literally 100 times better than it was. It's not nearly as stressful it was. Like I can just calmly explain what's happening on a memory leak now, and I can absolutely demonstrate it now. And that was not a possible. Anyways, Happy coding, everybody. I hope you all have a wonderful day. Bye.